Hi everybody, it's Cam from Women's Outdoor Connection, and I'm actually kind of super fangirling because I'm with the Rippin Chix, and I can't wait to ski with them this season. I'm really stoked about it. They have some clinics here in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm sure they'll talk about it. But I'm just gonna let you kind of introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do, what inspires you. I guess I'll just start with Meredith.
Hi, I'm Meredith. I kind of came a part of Rippin Chix. I think it was in 2017. Susan brought me on as a coach, and we had the opportunity to take it over as co-owners in 2019. Bit about my background is I used to compete competitively on the free skiing tour and then also in like free ride, so like half pipe, big air. So understanding the mindset behind skiing and all the stuff that kind of holds you back has been something I've personally faced and had to kind of go through to expand myself and my abilities. And then it's just been super cool being able to take those skill sets and all the time, like people think that we don't get scared, and I'm like, yeah, I get scared even now, like, and so it's just really cool to be able to take those experiences and share that knowledge with others and help them kind of expand their mountain playground so that they can go to all these cool places that are on their bucket list.
Nice. Love that. How about you, Susan?
Yeah, so I've been with Rippin Chix since the start. My friend and ex-ski coach, Allison Gannett, started the company actually way back in around 2000. Maybe it was 2003. Um, and at that time, I was on the Freeride World Tour competing. And when she started the camp, she wanted to make sure that everybody who came on to coach had a wide berth of experience in the ski world. So in addition to any CSIA or PSIA certifications, they had experience either as ski racers or as ski mountaineers or as championship level skiers. So um, yeah, so that was sort of where the camp started. It was to sort of bring this wide berth of experience to women skiing. And yeah, I have been coaching ever since with some breaks here and there. I have a kid and run my other business. But as Meredith said, we took over the company in 2019, and we've just been pushing it forward and trying to grow it and hopefully influence, and not like as influencers, but like influence that positivity around skiing with other women.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
Just a couple things I just wanted to know, as far as like other than skiing, what other outdoor passions do either of you have? Is there something else that you also enjoy doing when in the off season? How do you keep yourself in shape?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Meredith. Okay, I'll go. I love mountain biking, so I've been everything from e-biking to riding the bike park, um, and weightlifting are kind of the two things that I'm into, and then long walks with the dog, to,
Nice.
aka hiking.
Yeah, just keeping moving.
Yeah,
I love that.
keeping
How
moving.
about
Yeah,
you, Meredith?
exactly.
I mean, Susan and I are one and the same. I think we live in the sea to sky, so we have a lot of similar interests. So myself as well, like really big into mountain biking. I coach mountain biking as well.
Mm.
Um, and I'll race a little bit on my bike. In fact, I'm gonna have to start getting into hiking because I recently busted both my hands, so I can't actually hang on to a mountain bike right now.
Oh no.
Um, but I also kiteboard and or kite surf. And so that's something I spent some time learning how to do down in Mexico a few years back. So something I really enjoy as well. And then like Susan, I just going to the gym and strength training, I think is a super important piece of the puzzle. Injuries, as I'm here to say,
Yeah.
we both endured,
Mhm.
Hmm.
having that strength that comes outside from of just riding your bike and being on skis is super helpful. And I've always found that my skiing and my biking are the strongest when I've been doing that outside
something
effort.
else. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like focusing a bit on like this each of the core elements as far as our bodies are concerned is so important. And as we get older, it's even more important to because of the balance and all that. I mean, I know I also am a little bit of a gym rat and lift
Jeez.
weights and things, and it's some people think you're doing it for your actual physical look or whatever. And I'm always like, no, this is so I can deal with Cascade concrete. Like this is so I
Yeah.
can like deal with heavy snow and my knees don't fall apart,
Yeah,
and
you want to feel
also
strong.
it's for up here
Yep.
too, so on that note, are there any things about the outdoor industry right now as being women in the outdoor industry that frustrate you, that maybe sometimes you like hurdles that you've sort of come across? It's a big question.
It's a big
So
question.
yeah,
Yeah.
whoever wants to take it.
I think my biggest frustration isn't necessarily as a woman, but it's a frustration with being able to bring our camps to ski areas without a lot of hurdles. Um, there seems to be this resistance to having, we're outsiders coming in.
Mm,
Um, there seems to be resistance from sometimes both the ski area and from instructors.
mm,
And what our argument is that we're bringing something to the table that's not currently being offered, that's different, that's bringing business and exposing new clientele to new terrain at their ski
mhm,
areas. And so I never understand. I'm like, why is it so hard
mm.
for us to come?
I guess
And
I
that
never
being
thought
said,
about
that the
it.
ski areas that we do work with, we're super stoked on. We love
Mm,
them. They're great. Like Whitewater, Alpental, Alta have all been
Very supportive.
very
yeah,
supportive and great to work with. But it's just the challenges in the ski industry that I think there's a little bit of
Small business versus big business, probably.
yeah,
yeah, small business versus big business. Yeah.
yeah. So,
So
I think that's really interesting. What do you think? What do you think is the reason that you run against that hurdle with the other areas? Do they feel threatened, maybe, or is it like do you think? Like, how
yeah,
can I help? Like, who
uh,
do I need to talk
yeah.
to? Like,
I think there's maybe a bit of a lack of understanding that we're not providing the same services that the ski schools are providing, that we're
sure,
providing something totally outside of that.
yeah,
So we're not a direct competition to your
yeah,
ski school. And then I think the other one is just business wise, like just the insurance policies
sure.
are challenging.
Yeah.
So, and
So,
that's out of all
on
of
the
our control.
opposite note, what would you say is some of like the greatest aspects of being part of the outdoor industry? Like what some of like the wins that you've gotten?
Yeah.
I mean,
Meredith, you want to take that and I can build on it?
yeah, I mean, for me, I just think it's the community that, I mean, the community around in that do support and are big advocates. I mean, we have support from our sponsors. So, we work directly with Mons Royale, Head, and Strafe Outerwear, and they have just been so great. They see the value in empowering women to get outside and learn more. And so working with those brands is just creating a community for us and a community for our participants, which is amazing. And then the resorts that we do get to go to, like it is very cool to be part of this. It's the people that we do get to work with that are very clearly in support and see the value. And that is just kind of this motivating factor to keep it going, because you're just like, okay, everyone does see the value when once they actually experience it. And whether it's like photographers that I've worked with personally that then see me using that content to help promote our business, like they're always super stoked about it. Or brands as well, they see the stuff that I'm using with the brands to then help promote the camps, which is getting more
Mhm.
women involved. So it's kind of this snowballing effect, which I just think is really amazing. And when people see the value and they're like, yes, we want to work with you because we want more women to be empowered and stoked on
Mhm.
skiing, that's a
Yeah.
pretty fulfilling experience to have.
Love
Yeah.
that.
And
So
to kind of build
go
on
ahead.
that too, it's like we're getting that with our clientele too, with the ladies that
Yeah.
are coming to ski with us. Like a lot of times when they show up for camp, they don't really know what to expect. They're like, this is kind of crazy. And by the end of even the first day, they're stoked. And by the second day, we're seeing their skiing changed. And
Mm.
that's just like, that's why we do it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, those moments when you have a client, like even as a ski instructor, when I see that light bulb go off, you
Oh
know,
my God.
it's
yeah.
so amazing. And, like I've talked about so much about being a I teach other things too. It's like I gain so much from my students. Like they don't even realize it, you know, and you know, you hear about that just in regular teaching, you know, in K through 12 or whatever college, you know, that
Mhm.
teachers teach for a reason. They teach because they love showing people other things and giving of
Yeah.
themselves, you know. And so, what would you say is probably some of the more memorable moments you've had in your clinics? Like, is there any one specific? Like, I know there's probably
Yeah.
bazillion, but yeah, just maybe one or two that you can share.
I was just thinking about a woman that I skied with at Alta last year. Um, and she was struggling, like she was having a really hard time making it down some stuff. And like we kept working on things, we kept working on things. And on the last round, I'm videoing all of the ladies coming down, sort of one by one. So we do a lot of video playback. And one skier came by and I was like, who is that? And then I was like, oh it was the woman that like her skiing had changed so much that I didn't even recognize her skiing style after skiing,
Nice.
paying attention to her skiing hardcore for 2 days straight. Like
Sure.
she just had like this breakthrough.
Love it.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. That was kind of one of those like, yeah, moments.
Love that.
So
I
How
had
about you,
a
Meredith?
I had a great moment. So I coached somebody, I can't even remember which camp it was. But fast forward, and this is I find more often those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, but fast forward 3 months, I'm in Squamish. I stopped to get some lunch at a faux place, and I walk in and I see somebody at the table. I sit down, I order my food, and this woman comes up to me and she's like, hi, my name's Maddie. I don't know if you remember me, but you coached me. And so she's like, just, and once she explained the context, I was like, I totally remember you. I totally remember coaching
yeah,
you. And she's like, I just want to say, and she's sitting there with her boyfriend, and she's like, I just want to say, like, I gained so much. I learned so much. Like, my boyfriend, and he was there too. And he was like, oh my gosh, like, you've improved. And just the things that I shared with her in that camp then allowed her to kind of exponentially grow in her skiing over the course of the following months.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then having her just come up to me randomly, like totally, like we don't even do resort camps in like the sea to sky, so that she was there
yeah,
climbing, and that she remembered me and wanted to come up and tell me that. And her boyfriend was also like, it's unbelievable how much her confidence has
yeah,
changed.
I love
And
that.
I just like, for me, it's been, there's so many stories like that where it's like, I used to hate skiing POW and I'd go around while everybody skied the POW. And now I'm like elbowing people to get out of the way. I want it.
Yeah.
And when people come and tell you that, like personally, you're just like, oh
yeah,
my gosh, like it's so, so rewarding. And
Yeah.
in a lot of cases like that. But when people like just randomly, like not even in ski season, somebody picks you out and is like, comes and says hi. And I think they're nervous to do it because we see a lot of people come through the camp, but and so it's like, oh, you might not remember me. And I've been coached as a kid before, and I've gone up like 20 years later, have run into a coach and been
yeah,
like, I don't know if you remember me, but you coached me here, and I just
Yeah.
why.
yeah,
And it's whether you remember them or not, it's so appreciated and valued. And so those have been like the moments for me that just like really stand
No,
out.
I love that.
yeah.
That's great. You know, so give me a quick rundown of what to expect when you come to the camp. Like, what would you say is your? It can be just what the day looks like, or it could be even like, what do you expect people to gain by taking the camps?
I think like right away, most people come, they're super nervous. And I think nobody realizes that. Like everyone's like, oh, it's just me and everybody else. And you're kind of sizing yourself up. So there's nerves like from the outset,
Yeah.
regardless. And I think anticipating that is a good thing to have. And then it's just like introductions. We put people into groups. We kind of break down like the rundown of the day is ultimately like you know, in the morning we do some skills, and then we take those skills and then apply them to actual terrain that you might want to go practice them in. And then we do video review over lunch and in the afternoon. And then the day 2 is kind of the same thing, is just broadening on that skill set or more tools to manage through terrain in the morning, and then applying it again in the afternoon into the actual terrain. With the backcountry ski touring camps and the cat skiing camps, it's a little different because you don't have the chairlift as a means to kind of do some hot laps to get those, to practice those skills. But, and I think in terms of like what you can anticipate, you're for sure going to come out with more understanding of why skiing works and how it works. Like even for me, I was always a good skier, but then it was until I figured out how to teach and started coaching others that I was able to understand what needed to happen. And just that understanding, I think, helps people put a little bit more thought into what's going on. But then the confidence, because we're putting you in proper situations that if you're skiing with friends that are better than you, or a boyfriend or a husband or partner or whatever, they might not take the time to actually slow down and stop at the top of that feature. And so you'll go around. And so the ability to stand at the top and look at it and talk about how it's making you nervous and breaking down that feeling around those nerves and how you manage it, and can you do it, can you not, based on the things that we've talked about and the skill sets that you've learned. And then having somebody stand at the bottom and be like, I've seen what you're capable of doing, and I believe that you can do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't bring you here. So that's
But do you find it, I'm going to interrupt just a bit. Do you find that with women, there is that mental hurdle, like that we tend to like have that voice that like tells us we can't do something. And so part of your camp is helping us conquer that, correct?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And breaking everything down into digestible bites too. Right? Like, not just like put your hands out in front and push off. Like, you know, like we'll talk about where to look, like where do your shins need to be?
Sure.
You know, in addition to that, and why they need to be there. Like, a lot of times, like when I was taking my CSAI course, they were like, you don't need to explain to the client why. And I was like, I choose to disagree with that.
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
It clearly does. Like, you know, you can tell me all day long that I shouldn't lean into the hill, you know, but then I don't really understand why until I do it a bazillion times and I'm falling on my, you know what, and because it's terrifying to lean out, you know, that you don't think about that leaning out is helping you, you know, it's helping you make that first turn. Or, you know, I've been yelled at a bazillion times to just keep turning, you know, because like every time you stop, you know, you just have to get started again, you know, and
the momentum.
I liked the hot lap thing. I think it's really important to a lot of times when you're skiing with friends or you're skiing with a significant other, they don't necessarily want to go back to that same spot. And I find personally that if I'm a lot of times when I'm skiing by myself, I'll go back to the same run just so I can master whatever it was that was challenging me previously, you know, so then I can go, okay, I get this. So you guys do that a lot in your camps, go back to the same spot kind of.
Absolutely.
Sometimes,
and even like this has been my experience with biking too. There's like lots of features on trails that if I'm riding with a crew that's like faster and if I'm like the last person, it's like I know I can do this feature and I know I have all the skills to do it, but I just need somebody to show me, because I just like in my mind it looks way scarier than it is. And so just having somebody that's willing to stop and be like and break it down for you and show you at a slow pace how it can be done is just what I need. And sometimes when you're with that crew that's just like on the go, that you don't get that. And I don't think it's always intentional, but it's just like having this intention of like, hey, let's stop here, like let's look at this feature. Or a lot of the times I think the women that come are like, I would never even look at that feature. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I didn't even know that this was in my wheelhouse. And now I will go look at these features. And that's
sometimes at the camps too, like we'll ask the local women, like what's a feature that you get hung up on that
Yeah.
you want to go master, and we'll go session it and we'll go break it down, and then they own it. So that's always
The
kind of fun
entrance to
too.
international.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
that's a
gosh,
big
Yeah.
one at the
that
Alpental camp.
sucks every time I try to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
honestly don't know how that could be. That's exactly where you're going to take me, isn't it? You're going to take me there
100%.
next year
100%.
or this
Yeah.
season.
But not until you're ready. But yes, we
No,
will.
I could totally do it. It's just
Yeah.
it's so varied. It varies. Like, you know, it really depends on how much snow we have and what the
Yeah.
conditions are. And you pretty much have to just, for lack of word, you just have to sort of send it and grit through that first space, because I mean sometimes there's going to be a rock, you know, it's like
It was last year. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, it can be a lot. So what is it about, we're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon, but you know, we're so excited to have you at the Women's Outdoor Connection October 26th. And you know, I know you've been with us before, and you know, what is it that you really enjoy about being part of our community, like with the Women's Outdoor Connection?
Yeah.
I'll speak up because I was at the event last
Yeah.
year. I spoke highly of it to Susan, but she wasn't there in person. For me, it was just really cool to see just all these different female led or owned businesses. And again, it just goes back to this community, and sometimes it can feel a little bit like you're swimming upstream and it's so hard. And then when you know that you've got this like large community of people that are kind of in the same boat and want to see you succeed as well, or are resources for you to, you know, we do a scholarship program for people of color because we want to try and create skiing, more accessibility to skiing. And so then being there and listening to different speakers and groups, it's like, oh, this is a resource for us to share that with so that we can get it out to more people. So I think for me, it always just comes back to the community. And you know, with the women that come to our camp, they're always like, oh, I'm always looking for people to go skiing with, and I can never find anybody. And so I just feel like that is such a great, because usually, you know, as you ask Susan, it's like, what do you do outside of skiing? It's like, well, we both hike, we both ski, like, and so then you start to find your network of people, and that's really like the community thing is just such a valuable piece in any aspect of life, I think. And it's even more so like whether you get injured, it's like somebody's been there and they know what that's like and how to navigate the recovery, or even just like giving you some understanding of what the recovery is going to be like, so it doesn't feel so overwhelming and scary and intense. It's like, you know, you've done your ACL, like anticipate this much time, and well, they told me this, but don't rely on that. So it's just like those little like tidbits. And I thought the panel speakers were great, just getting an opportunity to like hear what other people's experiences are. Like I feel very, for sure, I've had challenges as a female in the industry, but for the most part, I feel very blessed. And it's nice to hear other people's struggles so that, you know, if I have something I can help with or vice versa, you know where to kind of put those resources out.
Yeah,
So
no, what's been interesting as one of the leaders of the group is I'm loving seeing these other groups meet each other, you know, because then they all have these resources that they can draw upon in ways that they can help each other. Oh, this has worked really well for me in this area or whatever. You know, I think it's just really exciting. I feel very grateful to be part of it. I feel grateful to be meeting everybody and to learn more about them. So is on the fun note of it, so what's either of your favorite ice cream flavors? Unless you don't like ice cream, but who are you?
Oh my God, that's such a tough question. Do you have one, Susan?
I don't know. I've really been into peanut butter ice cream lately.
Nice. Is it peanut butter chocolate, or is
it's like peanut butter chocolate ice cream.
Nice? Love that.
Yeah.
How about you, Meredith?
I mean, I'm kind of like everything. So I'm like something with like caramel and chocolate and marshmallow. I'm like,
So you get like 3 scoops.
I like to, but then you know, it's super weird and random, but I've been really like the last time I got ice cream out was I got tiger tail. I don't even know what it is. It's orange, black swirls in it, and it's delicious.
That sounds really
Um,
interesting.
So I don't
Well,
know.
I figure if you're mountain biking and you're killing it on the mountain and you're doing all the other things and hiking and walking the dog, y'all deserve some
Yeah.
ice cream. So,
Every,
This is why we
yeah.
do it. In fact, we do it so that we can have the beer and the chips
oh
and
yeah,
Yes.
100%, right?
guilt
The
free.
nachos, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
there's a reason that the food on the mountain is not good for you. Like
Yeah.
it fuels you.
Feels
So,
you. Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
ladies. Well, you have a fantastic day, and we'll look forward to seeing you in
Yeah.
October the 26th. So, and for everyone else that, we'll have a bunch of information about Rippin Chix on the website, and we're
Awesome.
just really stoked to be part of your community. And thank you again for being here.
Thank
So,
you
Thanks,
for
Kim.
including us. It's been such a pleasure.
Yeah.